Hello and welcome to the video. It is an honor for us to have you with us on the Sleep History channel. Today, I am taking you to Edo period Japan, into the morning routine of a samurai. In that era, being a warrior was not just about wielding a sword. Every movement was a ritual. Every breath was discipline. Before the city had awakened, you were already awake. Because for a samurai, the day began before the first light of dawn. These mornings, spent among the wooden walls of the dojo, were the silent moments that shaped your character. Today, together, we will step into that cold, damn morning. Before we begin, I have a small request. If you enjoy this kind of content, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Liking and supporting the video means a lot to me. Also, please write in the comments which city you are watching from and at what time. I am truly curious to see who is watching this video and when. Now, close your eyes and find your most comfortable position. If you are ready, let us begin this peaceful journey. When you open your eyes, the sun has not yet risen, but you do not wake according to the sun. Your body has been conditioned for years to awaken on its own at the same hour, before dawn. The first sound you hear is a gentle rustling of bamboo in the garden, moving with the wind. Then, a distant rooster's call. After that, the rhythmic, almost meditative sound of dew dripping from the dojo's roof onto the wooden floor. The futon you sleep on is thin but comfortable. Beneath it are firm tatami mats. This firmness is not a luxury for you. It is discipline. They say soft beds dull a warrior's reflexes. Every morning, you wake on this hard surface and feel the slight stiffness throughout your body. The traces of last night's sword practice linger in your back and shoulders. But this pain does not disturb you. On the contrary, it is proof that you exist, that you live a disciplined life. You do not rise from the futon with sudden movements. Everything is slow and controlled. First, you breathe, a deep breath, rising from the abdomen. You feel the hara, the center of your energy. Then you slowly straighten your body. You remain seated for a moment. Your eyes are still adjusting to the dim light. In the corner of the room, you can now make out your armor hanging quietly and the katana resting on the wall. It is time to fold the futon. Even this simple act is a ritual. You fold it carefully, making sure every crease is neat and precise. Then you place it into the cabinet in the corner. The room is left empty. The pale yellow of the tatami mats, the white of the walls. Minimalism is not a preference for you. It is a philosophy of life. The fewer things you own, the freer you are. The fewer attachments you have. For a warrior, attachment is weakness. Now it is time to step into garden. When you slide open the shoji doors, the first wave of cold air strikes your face. If it is late April, perhaps cherry blossom petals have settled into your hair. If it is late November, the damp cold seeps deep into your bones. But you are ready for it. Without taking a cloak, wearing only your thin cotton kimono, you step outside. The cold wakes you. It makes you feel more alert, more alive. The garden is not completely dark, yet the sun has not risen. There's a strange, ghost-like light everywhere. You see large shadows. The dark silhouette of the pine tree in the center of the garden. The stone wall of the water well in the corner. Everything is silent. Only the soft crunch of gravel beneath your feet. You walk toward the well. With each step, the vapor of your breath rises before you. Your hands do not go into your pockets. Your arms rest freely at your sides, always ready. This is not paranoia. It is a posture that has been internalized over many years. A warrior must never fully relax. You pull up the wooden bucket from the well. The water is icy cold. Even in April, it is cold enough to make you shiver. Still, you do not hesitate. First, you wash your hands. As the water flows over them, you feel the sharp cold at your fingertips. Then your face. You scoop a handful of water and splash it onto your face. Your eyes open instantly. That sudden shock. Then another handful. And another. Your neck. The back of your neck. Cold water drips from your hair and soaks the collar of your kimono. This is not merely cleansing. It is a ritual of awakening. Your body is now fully alert. Your circulation has quickened. Your mind is cleared. You are ready. Then you rinse your mouth. Of course, There are no toothbrushes in this era. Every morning, you rinse with salt water. Sometimes you rub your teeth with a small twig. The masters say that teeth are important for a warrior. Healthy teeth mean proper nourishment. Proper nourishment means a strong body. Now it is time for meditation. In the corner of the garden, there is a flat stone. Years ago, your master placed it there. It is your meditation spot each morning. You sit upon it, lotus position, your legs crossed. Your hands rest on your knees, palms facing upward. Your back is straight but not tense. Your shoulders are relaxed. Your chin slightly tucked in. Your eyes half closed. Your gaze rests on the ground, about 1 meter in front of you. You begin to breathe. Slow, deep breaths, in through the nose, out through the mouth. With each breath, your abdomen rises and falls. Not the chest. The abdomen breathes. You breathe from the hara, from that center of energy. In the first few minutes, your mind is still scattered. Thoughts of yesterday pass through you, tasks awaiting you today. But slowly, you let these thoughts go. Let them come. Let them leave. You focus only on your breath. You lose all sense of time. Perhaps 10 minutes have passed. Perhaps 20. You do not know. After a while, the birds begin to sing more loudly. The sky starts to brighten, so slowly it is almost unnoticeable. That is when you open your eyes. The meditation is complete. When you stand, your body feels both relaxed and energized. A strange combination. Your mind is clear. Your inner world is calm, yet awake. Now, the real work will begin. You walk toward the dojo. The dojo door is a large wooden sliding door. When you open it, the familiar sandalwood fills your nose. Inside, it is cold and outside. The wooden floor sends its famous chill through your bare feet. Along the walls, wooden fixtures are neatly arranged. Bakken, the wooden swords, hang in perfect order. In the corner, straw targets stand silently. On the wall, an old kanji inscription reads, "The spirit and the sword must be one." You move to the center. You place your feet shoulder-width apart. Your knees are slightly bent. Your center of gravity is low. Your eyes are fixed on the opposite wall, yet focus on nothing at all. With your peripheral vision, you see everything. Now it is time for kata. Kata is a sequence of predetermined movements, like a dance. But this dance is the art of killing. You begin slowly. Every movement is deliberate, controlled. Right foot forward. Weight shifts. Left hand rises, right hand lowers. You draw an imaginary sword. A cutting motion, then a retreat, a turn. Each movement synchronized with breath. Inhale, move. Exhale, move. The first kata is slow. A warm-up kata. Your body adapts. Muscles loosen. Joints become lubricated. The second kata is slightly faster. The movements sharpen. The third kata. Now the flow has begun. Your body enters autopilot. You no longer think with the mind. The body knows what to do. The same movements every morning for years. Tens of thousands of repetitions. Now it is muscle memory. Sweat begins to form. Droplets from your forehead, from the back of your neck. Your kimono clings to your back. But you do not stop. Another kata and another. The sun begins to filter through the windows. Light forms long lines across the dojo floor. You dance within those lines of light, like a ghost, like a shadow. Finally, you stop. You are out of breath but controlled. Deep, rhythmic breathing. Your heartbeat begins to slow. You stand in the center, hands at your sides, eyes closed. 1 minute, 2 minutes, only breath, only the moment. When you open your eyes, the sun has fully risen. The dojo is bright. It is not warm yet, but the biting cold has faded. Now it is time to stretch. You sit on the floor. You extend your legs forward. Slowly, you bend forward. Your hands reach your ankles. Your head touches your knees. The muscles in your back stretch with a pleasant pain. 30 seconds. You rise. Again. This time, you can go a little further. Then the shoulders, the arms, the neck, every joint, every muscle group. The stretching routine is as important as kata itself. A flexible body resists injury. The sword master Miyamoto Musashi once said, "If the sword is rigid, it breaks. What is flexible survives." When the stretching is complete, you leave the dojo. Outside, the world is now fully bright. Birds are singing in the garden. From afar, the sound of the village awakening reach you. A door opening, a woman calling out in the distance, children's voices. Life is waking up. You feel awake as well. Ready? But the day has not yet begun. Now it is time for breakfast. But first, you must cleanse yourself. You are covered in sweat. Your kimono is soaked through. You draw water from the garden well again. This time more. You fill the large wooden basin. Then you remove your kimono. Naked, you stand in the center of the garden. The morning chill touches your wet skin. Goosebumps rise. You take the bucket. One breath. Then you pour it over your head. That first shock. Your body tightens. Your breath catches. Then you adjust. Another bucket. Easier this time. A third bucket. Now the water almost feels warm. Your body has adapted. With a small bar of soap, you scrub your body. This soap is your own, made from ash and oil. The scent is sharp, but it cleans. Your hands, your arms, your chest, your legs, every part of you. Then one final bucket of water. A rinse. As the water flows over you, it feels as though it carries away all fatigue, all sweat, all impurity. You put on a clean yukata. Light, cotton, breathable. You gather your hair and secure it with a small tie. Now you are ready for breakfast. The kitchen is small but orderly. Everything is in its place. On the shelf, a container of rice, salt, dried fish, umeboshi pickles, miso paste. The hearth sits in the corner. Embers from last night still remain. You place a few pieces of wood on top. You blow gently. The embers come alive. Flames rise. Breakfast is simple but filling. Rice. Every morning, rice. With a large wooden spoon, you scoop rice into the pot. You add water. You know the measure by sight. Years of habit. You place the pot over the fire. Now it is time to wait. While waiting, you prepare tea. Green tea. Not matcha. That is for ceremonies. This is simple sancha. You place a few leaves into the teapot. You add boiling water. That familiar, grassy aroma rises. You take a deep breath. The scent calms you. As the rice cooks, you prepare miso soup. In a small pot, you boil water. You take a spoonful of miso paste and dissolve it into the hot water. You add a few pieces of seaweed. Finely chopped onion. Sometimes small cubes of tofu. The soup begins to simmer. You lower the flame. The rice is ready. You remove it from the fire. When you lift the lid, steam rises. Perfectly cooked. Sticky but not too much. You serve it into a small wooden bowl. A few sesame seeds on top. Beside it, umeboshi pickles, sour and salty. A piece of dried fish. You sit down to eat, but it is not really a table. It is a low stand. You sit on your knees in sized position. Before you, rice, miso soup, tea. Simple but sufficient. Before eating, you pause for a moment. You bring your hands together. You quietly say, "Itadakimasu." This is not just thanks. It is respect for the food, for those who prepared it, for nature itself. Then you eat. The meal is eaten in silence. There is no hurry. Each bite is chewed, savored. The grains of rice break apart in your mouth. The miso soup flows warm down your throat. The slightly bitter taste of the tea lingers on your tongue. The sourness of the umeboshi startles you at first. Then you adjust. 15 minutes later, you are finished. The bowl is clean. You drank the soup to the last drop, the final sip of tea. Once again, you bring your hands together. Gokususuma deshita, the closing gesture of respect for the meal. You gather the bowls and carry them to the well. You wash them with cold water. No soap, just water in your hands. Then you turn the bowls upside down and leave them in the sun to dry. Now the rest of the day awaits you. The sun is high. The village is fully awake. From afar, the sound of hammers, animals, human voices. You stand at the doorway of your home and look toward that noisy world. But this morning routine has given you strength. You feel focused, calm, ready. Whatever comes today, you are prepared. Because a samurai's strength is not only in the sword, it is in discipline. And discipline is built every morning before dawn in that cold water, on that hard tatami, in that silent meditation. Today, we are in the second chapter of our samurai story. In the previous chapter, you completed your morning routine, had your breakfast, and prepared yourself for the day. Now, I am taking you on a journey from your home toward the village. In that era, a samurai was not only a warrior, he was also a part of his community. He supervised merchants who traded with the villagers, collected taxes, and resolved disputes. Today, we will walk together along that dirt road and witness the life of the village people. If you missed the first chapter, be sure to go back and watch it. This story is far more meaningful as a whole. Do not forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, please remember to write in the comments which country you are watching from. I am genuinely curious to see where in the world these videos are reaching. Now, turn off your lights and relax. If you are ready, let us continue. You stand at the doorway of your home and take one last look around. Your garden shines in the morning sun. The dew that fell last night sparkles like crystal on the needles of the pine tree. For a moment, you take in the beauty of the scene. But you do not linger. Sentimentality is dangerous for a samurai. Attachment leads to pain. The masters say, it is time to wear your katana. This is not merely putting on a weapon. It is a ceremony, a ritual. First, you take the sword from its stand on the wall. As you hold the scabbard, you feel that familiar weight. This sword is not just metal. It is the physical form of your honor, the spirit of your ancestors. The swordsmith worked on this blade for 3 months. With every strike of the hammer, he whispered a prayer. Within this sword lives a spirit, yours and the spirit of your entire lineage. As you wrap the belt around your waist, every movement is slow and deliberate. The sword rests on your left side, the hilt angled slightly forward. This makes it easy to draw. In a moment of attack, you can unsheath it in a single motion. This movement, known as Aido, requires years of practice. Now it feels so natural that you do it without thinking. You also wear the wakizashi, the short sword, the younger brother of the katana. These two swords together are called daisho, long and short, large and small. They are always with you. Even when you sleep, the wakizashi rests beneath your pillow. These are not just weapons. They are your identity. Villagers are not allowed to carry swords. Only samurai may do so. These two blades set you apart from them. Finally, you put on your hibari, like a sleeveless vest. On it is the crest of your clan. This is called a mon. Yours is a stylized bamboo leaf. This emblem defines you. Even from a distance, people can tell which clan you belong to by this symbol. It is both a source of pride and a heavy responsibility, because whatever you do, you carry this emblem. If you behave dishonorably, you shame your clan. You are ready now. Before stepping out the door, you bow to a small Shinto shrine. It stands at the entrance of your home, a small wooden structure. Inside are wooden tablets bearing the names of your ancestors. You bow deeply. Protect me today as well, you whisper. Then you straighten and begin to walk. You close the door of your home. There is no lock. In this era, entering a samurai's home is unthinkable. No one would dare, because entering a samurai's home without permission is punishable by death, and you would carry out that punishment yourself. You begin walking along the road. Your home sits on the edge of the village, on a slight hill. It is a strategic position. You can see the village clearly, and no one can approach you without being noticed. Below, the village stretches out. Brown rooftops, narrow streets, small gardens. In the distance, rice fields. In the morning sun, you can see every shade of green. The road is dirt, no stone paving, only earth hardened by years of footsteps. When it rains, it turns to mud. But today the weather is clear. The ground is dry and firm. Small clouds of dust rise beneath your feet with every step. As you walk, you are mindful of your posture, back straight, shoulders not tense, but ready, head held high, your gaze forward, yet scanning your surroundings. Peripheral vision always active. A samurai never walks completely at ease. He is prepared for danger at every moment. By the side of the road stands a small Jizo statue, the guardian of travelers, a stone figure, its face worn smooth by the years. Small pebbles are piled at its base. Passers-by leave these stones while offering prayers. You take a small stone from your pocket and gently place it before the statue. Safe travels, you say silently. You approach the first houses, the entrance to the village. The homes are simple, wooden, roofs made of straw and bamboo, walls of clay and wood. Windows are small, no glass, only paper screens. Poverty is clearly visible here, yet there is also order and cleanliness. The gardens are swept, the thresholds are clean. For these people, poverty does not mean filth. The first person you see is an elderly woman, bent over, a broom in her hands. She is sweeping her garden. When she sees you, she pauses. Then she bows deeply, almost to the ground. "Ohio gozaimasu, Samurai-sama," she says. Her voice is trembling, respectful. You return the greeting with a slight nod of your head. But you do not stop. You cannot afford to stop. Yet even this small bow means a great deal to her. Because you saw her, you acknowledge her existence. Many samurai do not even do that. To them, villagers are almost invisible. As you continue down the road, you see more people. A man drawing water from a well. 2 women harvesting vegetables in a garden. A group of children playing in the mud. When they see you, they all stop. They bow. They show respect. You continue walking. On your right, a farmer works in the rice fields. Mud up to his knees. His hands deep in the soil. His back turned to the sun. Sweat runs down his neck. It is exhausting labor. Rice cultivation in this era is entirely manual labor. It begins before the sun rises and continues until the sun sets. You look at the rice fields more carefully now. The fields are terraced because the land is not flat, but set on a gentle slope. Each terrace is at a different level. Water flows from the top downward, irrigating each level in turn. This system has been used for centuries. It is highly efficient. Planting has only recently been completed in the fields. Small green rice seedlings have been placed into the water-filled paddies, row by row, perfectly aligned. The distance between each seedling is measured exactly. The villagers who do this are masters. Years of experience are required to plant with such precision. At the edge of the field stands an elderly man. A wide straw hat covers his head, casting his face entirely in shadow. But he notices you. He bows deeply. "Samurai-sama," he says. His voice is low, tired. You approach him. "How did the planting go?" you ask. A simple question. But the man is surprised. Because samurai usually do not speak with villagers. But you are different. For you, these lands and these people are your responsibility. You must know their condition. "It went well, Samurai-sama," the man says. "This year, the monsoon rains came on time. The soil is moist. The seedlings have taken root well. If it continues like this, the harvest will be abundant." You nod. "Good." You say, "Just that?" But even this small exchange is an honor for the man. A samurai spoke to him. When he returns home, he will tell his family about it. You continue walking. Now you have entered the village's main street. It is a bit more crowded here. There are shops, small workshops, a blacksmith's forge, a potter, a shoemaker. Materials are laid out in front of each shop. People bargain, talk, laugh. When they see you, silence falls immediately. People bow. They step aside. You walk through the center. No one blocks your path. It is not a written rule, but everyone knows it. When a samurai passes, the road is cleared. As you pass the blacksmith shop, you feel the heat inside. The furnace is burning, glowing embers. The blacksmith strikes the metal. Sparks fly. a rhythmic, hypnotic sound. Clang, clang, clang. The blacksmith does not stop when he sees you, but he lowers his head slightly. He is a master as well. Not a samurai, but a master of his craft. That gives him a quiet confidence. A little further ahead, a woman is selling vegetables. Woven baskets lie before her. Inside them are radishes, carrots, onions, leafy greens. Fresh, harvested this morning. The woman is old, her face wrinkled, her hands rough with calluses. But there is life in her eyes. When she sees you, she bows deeply. You stop. You know this woman. Months ago, her son had fought with another villager. You had intervened. You had made a fair judgment. She is still grateful. Good morning, you say. Oh, Samurai-sama, the woman says. Surprised, honored. How are you? Is your health well? I am well, you reply. Then you look at the vegetables. The radishes look fresh. Yes, yes, she says excitedly. I picked them this morning. Very fresh, very sweet. Please, please, try one. She reaches out, holding a small radish, offering it to you with both hands. With respect, you take it. You take a small bite. It is truly fresh, sweet with a slight sharpness. Well grown. Very good, you say. The woman's face lights up. She smiles. Thank you very much, Samurai-sama. Thank you so much. You nod and continue walking. But this small gesture is the highlight of her day. A samurai like a radish. She will tell everyone. A little further on, there is a small tea house. It is really a resting place. Travelers stop here to drink tea and rest. At this hour, it is not very crowded yet, but there are few people inside. Just then, you hear a familiar voice. Takeshi-san. You turn around. It is your old friend, Kenji. He is also a samurai, but from a different clan. You have known each other for years. You trained together. You went to war together. Now he is responsible for a neighboring village. Kenji, you say. For the first time this morning, a small smile appears on your face. He approaches. There is no formal greeting between you, just a mutual nod. There is familiarity. You're out early, Kenji says. So are you? You reply. What brings you this way? I'm checking on the merchants, he says. Today is market day. Traveling merchants will arrive. Are you here for the same reason? You nod. Yes, same day every month. Tax collection is approaching. I need to know how much business the merchants are doing. Come, let's have tea, Kenji says. The merchants haven't arrived yet. We have some time. You enter the tea house. It is small and simple. Tatami mats, low tables. In the corner, an elderly woman is brewing tea. When she sees you, she bows immediately. Welcome, my lords. You sit at a table in the corner, legs folded, size of position. The woman brings you tea. 2 earthen cups, green tea inside. Steam rises. How does this year's harvest look? Kenji asks. Business talk. For samurai, even small talk is usually about work. Good, you say. The rains came on time. The rice fields are healthy. If it continues like this, there will be no trouble during tax collection. The same for us, Kenji says. He takes a sip of tea. But the merchants are complaining. They say the roads are terrible. Their carts are breaking while transporting goods. You nod. The roads are indeed bad. But our Lord does not allocate funds for repairs. He says first the castle walls, then the roads. It's always like that, Kenji says with a faintly mocking tone. Lords think of their own comfort. The people's roads are not important to them. This conversation is dangerous, because criticizing the Lord is rebellion. But there is trust between you, and both of you know this is the truth. At that moment, voices rise outside. The sound of horses, the creaking of carts. Kenji looks out the window. There they are, the merchants. You both stand up. You leave payment for the tea on the table. The woman bows. Thank you, my lords. When you step outside, the scene has changed. The village square is alive. 3 or 4 carts stand there, loaded with goods, fabrics, pottery. Tools, spices. The horses pulling the carts look exhausted. They are covered in mud. The merchants climb down from their carts. They all wear similar clothing, practical travel garments. Dust covers them. Their faces are darkened by the sun. These people spend their months on the road. From one village to another, they buy goods. They sell goods. Their lives are built on movement. The head merchant is an elderly man. His hair has turned gray. His beard is long, but there is sharp intelligence in his eyes. When he sees you, he recognizes you immediately. He bows deeply. Samurai-sama, he says, it is an honor to find you here once again. You and Kenji incline your head slightly. How was the journey, you ask? Difficult. Samurai-sama, difficult. The merchant replies. The northern road is in terrible condition. One cart nearly overturned. But thankfully no damage. Our goods are intact. What did you bring this time? Kenji asks. The merchant smiles. For him, this is business. Ah, many things. Silk fabrics from the capital. Very fine, very beautiful. Also pottery, very sturdy. And spices. Spices from overseas. Black pepper. Cinnamon. Spices are a luxury. Very expensive. Only the wealthy can afford them. But the merchant knows that samurai interest is valuable. You ask, what are the prices? You are not asking as a customer, but as a supervisor, because merchants sometimes inflate prices. They cheat the villagers. It is your duty to prevent that. Very reasonable. Samurai-sama, very reasonable. The merchant says, silk cloth, 1 meter, only 2 BU. Large pottery, 1 BU. Black pepper, a small pouch, half a BU. These prices are truly reasonable. The merchant seems honest, but you still need to inspect everything. Show me your goods, you say. The merchant immediately turns to his assistants and shouts, come on, open the chests. Samurai-sama will inspect them. The chests are opened. Fabrics are taken out. They are truly high quality. Bright colors. Well woven. Then the pottery. Hard, well fired. Then the spices. In small pouches. Their scent reaches your nose. Exotic. The smell of distant lands. Everything looks proper. Still, you examine the pottery carefully. Are there cracks? Any damage? No. Good. You hold the fabrics in your hands. You feel them. Is the weave strong? Are the colors faded? They look good. All right. You say, you may begin selling. But the prices will be exactly as you stated. If I hear that you have cheated anyone, you will never come to this village again. The merchant bows deeply. Of course, Samurai-sama. No cheating at all. Honest trade. You and Kenji step back. You stand to the side and observe. Now the villagers approach. They look at the goods. They touch them. They ask questions. A woman looks at the silk cloth. Her eyes are full of admiration. But when she hears the price, her face falls. It is too expensive for her. An average villager may earn only 5 or 6 BU in a year. 2 BU for fabric is a lot of money. But there are wealthy villagers, landowners. They buy. One man buys 2 meters of silk. For his wife, he says. Another man buys a large piece of pottery, strong and sturdy. He will use it to store rice. No one buys the spices. They are too luxurious. Perhaps only the village temple priest will buy them. For ceremonies, Kenji turns to you. Everything looks normal, he says. Yes, you reply. This merchant is honest. I know him. He has been coming here for years. It's almost lunchtime, Kenji says. Will you eat with me? You think for a moment. You had planned to prepare food at home. But spending time with Kenji will be pleasant, and you are curious about what is being cooked at the small village eatery. All right, you say. The two of you walk together. Toward the other end of the village, there's a small food house there. It is actually the front part of someone's home. The owner cooks and sells food. Simple meals. Rice, miso soup, some vegetables, sometimes fish. When you enter, the owner almost stumbles with excitement. 2 samurai in his small place. Welcome. Welcome, he says. He bows again and again. Two people, you say simply, of course, of course. I'll prepare it right away. You sit at a table in the corner. The table is low, on tatami mats. The place is simple but clean. White plastered walls. A wooden ceiling. The air smells of miso soup and rice. Kenji turns to you. Any news from your family? He asks. You nod. A letter arrived last week. My father is well. He is getting old, but still strong. My younger brother got married. Married? Kenji says, surprised. When? 2 months ago. A good family. From a neighboring clan. A political marriage. Kenji nods. He understands. Among samurai, marriage is usually political. Not love, but alliance. And you, he asks, still unmarried? You smile faintly. Yes, the Lord has not chosen anyone for me yet. Perhaps next year. Just then, the food arrives. The owner brings 2 trays. On them are bowls of rice, miso soup, pickles, and a small portion of vegetable tempura. Please enjoy, my lords, he says. I hope you like it. You both bow. Itadakimasu. You begin to eat. The food is simple but delicious. The rice is well cooked. The miso soup is hot with tofu and seaweed. The vegetable tempura is crispy. Lightly oily but good. You eat quietly for a while. Samurai do not talk much while eating. A meal is a meditation. You focus on each bite. Suddenly, Kenji speaks. I heard there's movement on the northern border. You pause. You look at him. What kind of movement? The neighboring clan. They are gathering soldiers. There may be war. This is serious news. War means you may have to go to battle. You are a samurai of your lord, if he goes to war. So does our lord know? You ask. Of course he knows, Kenji says. Preparations have already begun, but nothing is official yet. You nod. You feel something strange inside. Not fear, but acceptance. War is part of the samurai's life. Inevitable. You finish your meal. You drink the last of the soup. You thank the owner. You pay. You step outside. The sun is high now. It is midday. The air is warm. The village is lively. People are working. Children are playing. Life goes on. You turn to Kenji. I'm heading back. You say, I'll train this afternoon. So will I. Kenji says, until we meet again, my friend. If war breaks out, we will fight side by side. Side by side. You reply? You bow to each other. Then you part ways. He heads toward his village. You head toward your home. On the way back, you see villagers again. They are working in the fields. A group of men carry a large log. They are building a new house. All of them working together, in harmony. A woman gathers rice stalks with a basket in her hands. A baby is tied to her back. The baby is sleeping. The woman sings softly, an old village song, sung for generations. An old man herds sheep. He gently taps them with his stick. The sheep move slowly. When the old man sees you, he bows. You bow back. These scenes make you think. These people live simply. They live hard lives, but they live from birth to death on these lands. In these fields, in these houses, generations have passed like this, and generations will continue like this. You protect them as a samurai, but at the same time they sustain you because they grow rice, and you collect taxes from that rice. A shared existence, mutual dependence. When you reach the top of the hill near your home, you turn and look at the village one last time. From a distance, it looks small. Brown rooftops, green fields, mountains fading into blue. A peaceful scene. But you know this peace is fragile. War can break out at any moment. Disease can arrive at any moment. Hunger can threaten at any moment. That is why each day must be lived as if it were the last. You reach the door of your house. You step inside. Silence greets you. You hang your katana on the wall. You remove your hibari. Now it is time for afternoon training. But first, you sit for a moment. You look into the garden. The sun is shining. Bamboo leaves rustle softly. A butterfly flies past. You live in the moment, only the present. Because for a samurai, the past is gone. The future is uncertain. Only now exists. And this is now. Hello, and welcome back to the Wiku Tarihi channel. Today, we are in the third part of our samurai story. In the previous episode, you went to the village, met your friend, and witnessed the lives of the villagers. Now, I am taking you to your afternoon training. But first, we will go into the past, back to your childhood. Because a samurai is not born a samurai. He is shaped by years of training, discipline, and pain. Today, you will witness that difficult journey of training. Then we will return to the present and observe your daily practice. And in the evening, when you gather with other samurai, you will discover what is discussed. If you missed the previous episodes, be sure to go back and watch them. The story is much more meaningful as a whole. Do not forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And write in the comments which city you are watching from and at what time. I am truly curious how far this content reaches across the world. Now, turn off your lights. Relax. If you are ready, let us begin this deep journey. You stand in the center of the dojo. Your katana is in your hand. It no longer feels heavy. You have grown accustomed to this weight over many years. But once, a long time ago, the sword was too heavy for you to lift. You close your eyes for a moment. You take a deep breath. And suddenly, your mind pulls you back. Years ago, when you were a small child, 7 years old. Flashback, childhood. That morning was very early. The sun had not risen yet. You were sleeping on your small futon. Then you heard a harsh sound. Someone was banging on the door. "Get up," your father shouted. His voice was firm and absolute. "From today on, your training begins." You got up with sleepy eyes. You felt cold. Your small body was trembling, but you could not cry, because a samurai's child does not cry. You had already been taught this. When you went outside, you saw your father in the garden. There was another man beside him, old, his face full of lines, his gaze sharp. The sensei, your master, the man who would shape your life for the next 10 years. "Is this him?" the sensei asked, looking at you. "Yes," your father said. "My son Takashi, small but strong. He will be a good samurai." The sensei stepped closer. He crouched down and looked into your eyes. You were afraid, but you did not look away, because showing weakness was forbidden. "Do you know how to cry?" the sensei asked. "No," you said. There was a childish determination in your voice. "Are you afraid of pain?" "No." The sensei smiled, but it was not a warm smile. It was an evaluation. "We shall see," he said. That day, your first training began. The sensei led you to the center of the garden. Then he handed you a long wooden stick, a bakken, a wooden sword. "Lift it," he said. You tried to lift it, but it was too heavy. Your small arms trembled. With great effort, you raised it to chest level, but you could barely hold it. "Higher," the sensei said, "above your head." With all your strength, you lifted it. Your arms were burning. Your muscles were in pain, but you lifted it. "Now wait," the sensei said. He stepped aside and began to watch you. 1 minute passed. Your arms began to shake. 2 minutes. The pain was unbearable now. 3 minutes. Tears filled your eyes. But you did not cry. The tears simply flowed silently. "Lower it," the sensei finally said. When you lowered the bakken, your arms hung at your sides. You could not feel them at all. They were completely numb. This was your first lesson. The sensei had said, "A samurai endures pain. Pain is temporary. Honor is eternal." That day was only the beginning. After that, every day, every morning, you woke before sunrise. You went into the garden. You trained. In the first year, you practiced only stance. How your feet should stand. How your body should balance. How your knees should bend. You stood in the same position for hours. Your legs ached. You wanted to fall, but the sensei was watching, and you could not fall. "Foundation is everything," the sensei would say. Without a strong foundation, a building collapses. Without proper stance, a samurai is defeated. In the second year, striking techniques began. You learned how to hold the bakken, how to swing it, how to stop it. Every movement was repeated thousands of times. The same motion. Again, again, again. Calluses formed on your hands. Sometimes they bled, but you did not stop, because stopping was weakness. In the third year, you saw a real sword for the first time, but you were not allowed to touch it. You could only look. The sensei showed it to you. How it shone, how sharp it was. This is not a tool, he said. This is a spirit. A samurai's soul lives inside his sword. You do not use the sword. You become one with it. That year, philosophy lessons also began. Training was no longer only physical. It was mental. The sensei made you read ancient texts. He taught you the code of Bushido, the 7 virtues. Gi, righteousness. Yu, courage. Jin, compassion. Rei, respect. Makoto, honesty. Meo, honor. Chugi, loyalty. These are not just words, the sensei said. This is your path in life. If one of these is missing, you are incomplete. In the 4th year, you began meditation. Every morning, before training, you sat for hours. At first, it was unbearable. Your legs went numb. Your mind wandered. Thoughts came and went. You could not focus. But the sensei was patient. The mind is like a horse, he said, wild and uncontrolled. But if you train it slowly, it obeys. Each day it becomes calmer. Each day it becomes more controlled. In the 5th year, you began sword techniques, still with the bakken, but now there were forms, named movements. Keisagiri, the basic cut. Kote uchi, the wrist strike. Man uchi, the head strike. Each technique was a work of art. It had to be perfect. The sensei watched you and corrected you. Wrists firm, shoulders relaxed, knees bent, eyes on the target. Sometimes you made mistakes. The sensei struck your back with a bamboo stick. It hurt, but you did not cry, because pain was a teacher. In the 6th year, Kumite began. Sparring. You fought other students. At first, you always lost. They were bigger, more experienced. They knocked you to the ground. They struck your head with their bakken. Bruises formed, cuts opened. But every time you fell, you stood up again, because the sensei was watching, and in his eyes was judgment. Stand up, or live in shame. In the 7th year, you held a real sword for the first time. You still remember that day. The sensei called you forward. There was a box in front of you. You opened it. Inside lay a shining katana. This is yours now, the sensei said. But remember, this is not just metal. This is your honor. If you lose it, you lose your honor. When you took the sword in your hands, you felt something as if it were alive. Its weight was different from the bakken. Its balance was different, but it felt right. From that day on, you trained with a real sword. But first, they taught you restraint, control, because control is the foundation of power. You practiced cutting straw targets. On your first cut, the sword caught. The cut was not clean. The sensei laughed. You are not cutting, he said. The sword cuts by itself. You only guide it. If you force it, it binds. If you release it, it flows. Slowly you learned how to relax, how to use the weight of the sword, how to enter the flow. And one day, you made a perfect cut. The sword passed through the straw like water. The sensei nodded. There, now you understand. In the 8th year, mental training intensified. It was no longer just technique. You studied strategy. You read Miyamoto Musashi's Book of 5 Rings. You studied Sun Tzu's Art of War. A samurai does not only use his sword, the sensei said. He uses his mind. 90% of war is mental. Only 10% is physical. A good strategy makes a weak warrior strong. A bad strategy makes a strong warrior weak. You learn tactics, how to read your enemy, how to see intent in their eyes, how to predict their next move from their body language. Know what the enemy will do before he attacks, the sensei said. While he thinks, you move. While he moves, you finish. In the 9th year, real combat began, still with Bakken. Because training with real swords was deadly, you faced master samurai. They showed no mercy. They crushed you. Bones broke. Your head rang. But from every defeat, you learned something. What did not work? What did work? Where your weaknesses were. Where your strengths were. In the 10th year, the Genpuku ceremony was held. The coming-of-age ceremony. You were no longer a child. You were now a full samurai. You still remember that day. You knelt before your lord. He placed a sword on your shoulder. From this day forward, you are my samurai, he said. Your life belongs to me. Your honor belongs to me. Your loyalty belongs to me. Do you swear this? I swear, you said, your voice firm. Clear. Then rise. You're now a samurai. When you stood, the sensei looked at you. There was pride in his eyes. For the first time in 10 years, you were approved. You trained well, he said. Only 2 words, but the reward of 10 years of effort. Return to the present daily training. You open your eyes. You are back in the center of the dojo, the katana in your hand. Those memories belong to the past, but that training still lives within you, in every movement, in every breath, in every thought. Now it is time for daily training. But this is no longer punishment. This is meditation. This is a way of life. You move to the center, feet shoulder-width apart, knees slightly bent, center gravity low. You draw the katana from its scabbard. That familiar sound, the smooth whisper of metal. The blade shines in the light, thin like a leaf, strong like a mountain. The pattern along the blade is called the hamon. It flows like waves. This pattern is the soul of the sword. Every sword has a different soul. You take your starting stance. Chuden no kami. Middle guard. The sword forward. The tip aimed at the enemy's chest. Hands relaxed, but ready. Breath calm. Then you move. Slow. Controlled. The first cut. Kesagiri. The sword rises. Then falls. A diagonal line. From shoulder to hip. The motion is smooth. Unbroken. You return to position. Then the second cut, from the opposite direction. The same diagonal, but reversed. Your body turns. The sword follows. Your hands shift position. Every detail matters. You perform a kata, a prearranged sequence of movements. This kata has been practiced for centuries. Generations of samurai repeated these same motions, and now you perform them. Each movement represents an enemy. Imaginary enemies, an attack coming from the front, defense, counterattack, a threat from behind, turn, block, cut. Your body is now on autopilot. The mind is not thinking, it is only observing. Muscle memory is active. This is the result of thousands of hours of practice. You move without thinking. Sweat has started. It drips from your forehead. It runs down your back, but you do not notice it. There is only movement, only the sword, only the moment. 15 minutes pass. The kata is finished. You stop. You breathe. Deep, controlled breaths. Your heartbeat is high, but steady. Your body is warm. Your muscles are burning, but it is a pleasant burn. The burn of effort. The burn of work. You wipe the sword with a soft cloth, carefully along every sharp edge, with respect. Then you oil it, choji oil, to prevent rust. Caring for the sword is the duty of its owner. Then you return it to its scabbard. That soft final sound. Click. The sword is returned home. Now a tea break. You fill a small bowl with water. You drink it in one sip. Cold water flows down your throat. Refreshing. The second phase begins. Now it is time for practice cutting. Tamashidri. Cutting practice on straw targets. You step into the garden. Prepared straw rolls are waiting there. They are called tatama mats. Wet straw, tightly rolled. They simulate the density of the human body. You place one roll onto the wooden stand. You secure it. Now it is ready. You take a few steps back. You take your stance. The sword rests at your side in its scabbard. You breathe. You focus. Then you move. Fast. One step forward. The sword is drawn, cuts, and returns to the scabbard. One motion. Aedo. The straw roll is split in two. A perfect cut. Straight. Clean. The blade passed through without resistance. But it is not enough. Again. This time, two cuts. The first cut is horizontal. The second cut is vertical. Like a cross. The straw separates into 4 pieces. They fall to the ground. Good. Again. This time, 3 cuts. Diagonal. Reverse diagonal. Horizontal. Complex. Fast. No pause between cuts. There's flow. The straw falls to the ground in slices. Each cut is clean. Precise. This is it. This is the result of years of training. You continue cutting for another 15 minutes. From different angles. From different heights. At different speeds. Each cut is a lesson. Each cut is a correction. Finally, you stop. You are out of breath, covered in sweat, but satisfied. You trained well today. You clean the sword again. Straw fibers are stuck to it. You remove them carefully. Then you oil it once more. Taking good care of the sword gives it a long life. Now the final phase, mental training. You return inside the dojo. You sit in the center, lotus position, eyes half closed. Meditation begins. But this time, it is not just sitting. You fight imaginary battles. You create enemies in your mind. You fight them. You visualize every movement. An enemy attacks from the right. You block, counterattack. The enemy falls. Another enemy from the left. You turn, cut, finished. 5 enemies at once. They surround you. You remain calm. The first threat is the closest one. Focus on him. Cut. Then turn, one by one, to the others. Each in order. No panic. Only flow. This mental training is as important as physical training. Because in battle, the body cannot do what the mind does not allow. If the mind finishes first, the body follows easily. Half an hour passes. The meditation ends. You open your eyes. Your mind is clear. Your body is tired but strong. Today's training is complete. The gathering place of the samurai. The sun is beginning to set. The sky is painted with orange and pink. The evening cool settles in. Now it is time to dress. You put on a clean hakama, a wide, trouser-like garment. The formal clothing of samurai. Over it, a kimono. On top, a bari. You wear your katana again, because a samurai does not go outside without his sword. Today is a special day. On this day, each month, samurai from the surrounding region gather. There is a meeting at a nearby temple, both social and strategic. News is shared. Techniques are discussed. Friendships are strengthened. You leave the house. The air is cool but pleasant. The moon has begun to rise. A half moon. Stars are becoming visible in the sky. You walk along the road. It is not far, about half an hour. Along the way, you encounter other samurai, all heading in the same direction. You greet each other with slight bows. There is little conversation. Samurai do not like unnecessary words. You approach the temple. It is an old Zen temple, a wooden structure, large, imposing. At the entrance stands a massive gate. It is called a torii. As you pass through, you bow slightly, a sign of respect. Inside, the courtyard is wide. At the center stands a large plane tree, centuries old. Stone lanterns beneath it. Candlelight flickers inside them. The samurai have already begun to gather. They stand in small groups. Some are talking. Some wait in silence. They all share the same traits. Disciplined posture. Calm expressions. Swords at their waists. You see Kenji in a corner. 2 other samurai stand beside him. You walk toward them. Takeshi, Kenji says when he sees you. You came. Of course, you say. You look at the other 2. You recognize one of them. Hayato, an experienced samurai, in his 40s, scars on his face. He has seen battle. The other is young, maybe 25, still new. Hayato-san, you say respectfully. He is older, more experienced. You must show respect. Takeshi, Hayato says, He nods. How are you? Is your training going well? It is going well, you say. I improve a little more every day. Good, Hayato says, because it will soon be needed. That sentence changes the atmosphere. Everyone falls silent. You look at him. What do you mean? Kenji asks. Hayato looks around to see if anyone is listening. Then he lowers his voice. The northern clan has moved. 2 days ago, they attacked a border village. The village was burned. People were killed. A cold feeling spreads through you. This is serious. This means war. What does our Lord say, you ask? He has given the order to prepare. Hayato says, there will be a meeting next week. What will most likely be declared? We will all be called. The young samurai speaks for the first time. His voice trembles slightly. It will be my first battle. Hayato looks at him. Are you afraid? The young man hesitates. Then he is honest. Yes, a little. Hayato nods. Good. Fear keeps you alive. Fear makes you careful. But do not let fear paralyze you. Use it. Turn it into energy. What should I do in my first battle? The young samurai asks. Each movement represents an enemy. Imaginary enemies. An attack coming from the front. Defense. Counterattack. A threat from behind. Turn. Block. Cut. Your body is now on autopilot. The mind is not thinking. It is only observing. Muscle memory is active. This is the result of thousands of hours of practice. You move without thinking. Sweat has started. It drips from your forehead. It runs down your back. But you do not notice it. There is only movement. Only the sword. Only the moment. 15 minutes pass. The kata is finished. You stop. You breathe. Deep, controlled breaths. Your heartbeat is high but steady. Your body is warm. Your muscles are burning. But it is a pleasant burn. The burn of effort. The burn of work. You wipe the sword. With a soft cloth. Carefully, along every sharp edge. With respect. Then you oil it. Choji oil. To prevent rust. Caring for the sword is the duty of its owner. Then you return it to its scabbard. That soft, final sound. Click. The sword is returned home. Now a tea break. You fill a small bowl with water. You drink it in one sip. Cold water flows down your throat. Refreshing. The second phase begins. Now it is time for practice cutting. Tamashidri. Cutting practice on straw targets. You step into the garden. Prepared straw rolls are waiting there. They are called tatami mats. With straw tightly rolled. They simulate the density of a human body. You place one roll onto the wooden stand. You secure it. Now it is ready. You take a few steps back. You take your stance. The sword rests at your side in its scabbard. You breathe. You focus. Then you move. Fast. One step forward. The sword is drawn, cuts, and returns to the scabbard. One motion. Aedo. The straw roll is split in two. A perfect cut. Straight. Clean. The blade passes through without resistance. But it is not enough. Again. This time, 2 cuts. The first cut is horizontal. The second cut is vertical. Like a cross. The straw separates into 4 pieces. They fall to the ground. Good. Again. This time, 3 cuts. Diagonal. Reverse diagonal. Horizontal. Complex. Fast. No pause between cuts. There is flow. The straw falls to the ground in slices. Each cut is clean. Precise. This is it. This is a result of years of training. You continue cutting for another 15 minutes. From different angles. From different heights. At different speeds. Each cut is a lesson. Each cut is a correction. Finally, you stop. You are out of breath. Covered in sweat. But satisfied. You trained well today. You clean the sword again. Straw fibers are stuck to it. You remove them carefully. Then you oil it once more. Taking good care of the sword gives it a long life. Now the final phase. Mental training. You return inside the dojo. You sit in the center. Lotus position. Eyes half closed. Meditation begins. But this time it is not just sitting. You fight imaginary battles. You create enemies in your mind. You fight them. You visualize every movement. An enemy attacks from the right. You block, counterattack. The enemy falls. Another enemy from the left. You turn, cut, finished. 5 enemies at once. They surround you. You remain calm. The first threat is the closest one. Focus on him. Cut, then turn, one by one, to the others, each in order. No panic, only flow. This mental training is as important as physical training, because in battle, the body cannot do what the mind does not allow. If the mind finishes first, the body follows easily. Half an hour passes. The meditation ends. You open your eyes. Your mind is clear. Your body is tired, but strong. Today's training is complete. The gathering place of samurai. The sun is beginning to set. The sky is painted with orange and pink. The evening cool settles in. Now it is time to dress. You put on a clean hakama, a wide, trouser-like garment, the formal clothing of samurai. Over it, a kimono. On top, a hibari. You wear your katana again, because a samurai does not go outside without his sword. Today is a special day. On this day, each month, samurai from the surrounding region gather. There is a meeting at a nearby temple, both social and strategic. News is shared. Techniques are discussed. Friendships are strengthened. You leave the house. The air is cool but pleasant. The moon has begun to rise. A half moon. Stars are becoming visible in the sky. You walk along the road. It is not far, about half an hour. Along the way, you encounter other samurai, all heading in the same direction. You greet each other with slight bows. There is little conversation. Samurai do not like unnecessary words. You approach the temple. It is an old Zen temple, a wooden structure, large, imposing. At the entrance stands a massive gate. It is called a torii. As you pass through, you bow slightly, a sign of respect. Inside, the courtyard is wide. At the center stands a large plane tree, centuries old. Stone lanterns beneath it. Candlelight flickers inside them. The samurai have already begun to gather. They stand in small groups. Some are talking. Some wait in silence. They all share the same traits. Disciplined posture, calm expressions, swords at their waists. You see Kenji in a corner. 2 other samurai stand beside him. You walk toward them. Takashi, Kenji says when he sees you. You came. Of course, you say. You look at the other 2. You recognize one of them. Hayato, an experienced samurai. In his 40s, scars on his face. He has seen battle. The other is young, maybe 25, still new. Hayato-san, you say respectfully. He is older, more experienced. You must show respect. Takashi, Hayato says. He nods. How are you? Is your training going well? It is going well, you say. I improve a little more every day. Good, Hayato says, because it will soon be needed. That sentence changes the atmosphere. Everyone falls silent. You look at him. What do you mean? Kenji asks. Hayato looks around to see if anyone is listening. Then he lowers his voice. The northern clan has moved. 2 days ago, they attacked a border village. The village was burned. People were killed. A cold feeling spreads through you. This is serious. This means war. What does our Lord say, you ask? He has given the order to prepare. Hayato says, there will be a meeting next week. What will most likely be declared. We will all be called. The young samurai speaks for the first time. His voice trembles slightly. It will be my first battle. Hayato looks at him. Are you afraid? The young man hesitates. Then he is honest. Yes, a little. Hayato nods. Good. Fear keeps you alive. Fear makes you careful. But do not let fear paralyze you. Use it. Turn it into energy. What should I do in my first battle? The young samurai. You are home now. Silence surrounds you. You hang the katana on the wall. You remove your hibari. You fold your hakama. Each movement is slow, deliberate. This is the ritual of closing the day. You step into the garden one last time. The night is cold but clean. The moon shines high above. The stars are sharp and clear. You take a deep breath. Night air fills your lungs. Now you feel the fatigue of the entire day. Your body is heavy. Your muscles are tired, but your mind is still awake. You go to your meditation corner. On the quiet side of the garden, beneath a pine tree, there is a small square platform. Wooden, the place where you have sat for years. Its surface is smooth now, polished by time and stillness. You sit in the lotus position, your feet crossed over your legs. Your hands rest on your knees, palms facing upward. Mudra position. Your thumbs lightly touch, forming a circle. Your back is straight, but not tense. Your shoulders are lowered and relaxed. Your chin is slightly tucked in. Your eyes are half closed. Your gaze falls to ground about 1 meter ahead. But in truth, you are not looking anywhere. You begin to breathe, slow, deep, in through the nose. 4 counts. Your belly expands, not your chest. You breathe from the hara, the center of energy. You hold the breath. 2 counts. Then out through the mouth. 6 counts. Slow, controlled. Your belly falls. Again. In 4. Hold. 2. Out. 6. Your mind begins to slow down. Thoughts are still there. The events of the day pass before you. The village. The merchant. Kenji. The meeting. News of war. The young samurai. But you do not hold them. You let them come. You let them go, like clouds, passing through the sky. You only observe. You return to the breath. In 4. Hold. 2. Out. 6. Your body begins to relax. The tension in your shoulders dissolves. The lines on your forehead soften. The tightness in your jaw fades. The wind rustles through the bamboo. The sound pulls you deeper. The rhythm of nature. The rhythm of the universe. You are part of this rhythm. Breath. In 4. Hold. 2. Out. 6. Your mind is now very calm. Thoughts are rare. The space between them grows wider. In that space, there is peace. There is silence. There is nothingness. An owl calls in the distance. Its sound does not disturb the meditation. It deepens it, because you do not resist. You accept every sound, every feeling. Every thought is accepted, then released. 5 minutes pass. Maybe 10. There is no concept of time now. Only the moment, infinite, expanding. Then you slowly return. You deepen your breath slightly. You move your fingers. You rotate your ankles. You feel your body again. You open your eyes fully. The moon is still there. The stars still shine. But you have changed. Your mind is cleansed. The weight of the day has been released. Now you are ready for sleep. You stand up, slowly. There is no hurry. You pause for a moment. You look at the pine tree, at the moon, at the sky. You feel gratitude for living today, for breathing, for being here. You go inside. You close the shoji doors. In your room, you lay out your futon. You lie down upon it. The blanket covers you. You place your wakizashi beneath your pillow. A samurai is ready even in sleep. You close your eyes. You breathe. Your body grows heavy. Your mind grows quiet. Sleep arrives like waves. Tomorrow is a new day, a new training, a new step toward war. But now there's only sleep, only stillness, only peace. And you as a samurai accept this as well with honor. Welcome back to the Sleep History Channel. Today, we are in the most critical chapter of our samurai story, preparation for war. That night, you ended the day with meditation and fell asleep. But when you woke in the morning, everything was different because a message had arrived from your Lord, an order for war, a gathering within 3 days. Today, we will experience this intense preparation together, how armor is prepared, how the sword is checked one final time, how strategy is planned, what happens inside the army camp. You will see it all. If you missed the previous episodes, be sure to go back and watch them. This story as a whole. Do not forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And leave a comment about what you think and where you are watching from. Now, turn off the lights. Relax. And if you are ready, let us begin this intense journey. Day 1. The message. You woke up early in the morning, as always, but this morning was different. Before you even began meditation, you heard a sound at your door, a knock, hard, urgent. When you opened the door, a messenger stood there, out of breath, just dismounted from his horse. In his hands, a rolled document, bearing your lord's seal, red wax, stamped with the clan's emblem. Takeshima, the messenger said. He bowed. An urgent message from our lord. You took the scroll. You broke the seal. You opened it. You read. The calligraphy was beautiful, but the message was harsh. War has been declared against the northern clan. All samurai are to gather at the main castle's army camp within 3 days. Complete your preparations. The journey will take 4 days. Bring provisions, weapons, and armor. No delay will be accepted. Come with honor. At the bottom was your lord's signature. This was not a game. This was real. You looked at the messenger. Is a response required? No. Samurai-sama, the messenger said. It is only a notification. I am going now to inform the other samurai. You nodded. The messenger bowed, turned, mounted his horse, and rode away. You remained standing at the doorway, the scroll in your hand. Inside you, a strange mixture. Not fear, not excitement, more like acceptance. At last it had come. That morning, you did not follow your normal routine. There was no time. You immediately shifted into planning mode. 3 days. You had to prepare everything within 3 days. Armor inspection. Your first task was to inspect your armor. Armor was your second skin. But for years, you had only worn it for ceremonies and training, never in real battle. Now every piece had to be checked, because in war, a single weakness, a broken tie, could cost you your life. You opened the armor cabinet. Inside were the carefully folded and arranged pieces of armor. This type of armor was called yoroi. Oyuroi, heavy armor. The first piece was the dew, the chest armor. Small metal plates tied together with cords. A lamellar system. It provided flexibility, but also protection. Each plate was polished, shining, but you had to inspect them. You examined each plate carefully. Any cracks? Any rust? No. Good. Then you checked the bindings. Were the cords strong? Worn? Rotting? A few showed slight wear. You made a note. They would need to be replaced. Next, the sodi, the shoulder guards. 2 large plates hanging down from the shoulders. Critical pieces, because shoulders are one of the most targeted areas in combat. Again, you checked every cord, every plate. On one of them, you found a small crack. Very small, but enough. You would need to visit the blacksmith for repairs. Then the kote, the arm guards. They protected the forearms and hands. Metal plates sewn onto fabric. You needed to be able to move your fingers to grip the sword. Flexibility was essential. You put them on to test. You move your fingers. Good. No problem. Next, the high date, the thigh guards. Chainmail sewn onto cloth. They protected the legs while allowing freedom of movement. You inspected them. 1 chain ring was broken. Repair was necessary. Then the sunny 8, the shin guards. Metal plates protecting the front of the legs. The back was open because there is no retreat. You only look forward. Finally, the kabuto, the helmet, the most important piece, because your head must be protected. The helmet was made of heavy metal plates. On top was a crest, called a May date, the symbol of your clan, a bamboo leaf. You lifted the helmet in your hands. It was heavy, but the weight was reassuring. You checked the interior. The lining was intact. The ties were strong. On the outside were scratches, but those did not matter. Scratches were marks of honor. They meant the armor had seen battle. When you finished inspecting everything, you made a list of what was needed. A few cord replacements, 1 plate repair, 1 chain ring replacement. The blacksmith could handle all of this. You needed to go immediately. Visit to the blacksmith. You went down to the village. The blacksmith shop was already busy. Inside were 4 or 5 other samurai, all there for the same reason: armor repairs. The blacksmith, a man named Goro, was drenched in sweat. The furnace burned hot. Sparks flew through the air. But there was worry on his face. Too much work. Too little time. "Takeshi-sama," he said when he saw you. He bowed, but briefly. There was no time for long ceremony. "You as well." "Yes," you said. "I inspected my armor. A few repairs are needed." You handed him the list. Goro looked it over and nodded. "I will need 2 days. If I rush, I can finish by tomorrow evening." "Is tomorrow morning possible?" you asked. "I leave in 3 days." Goro thought for a moment. Then he nodded. "Yes, but I will have to work through the night. There will be an extra fee." "That is not a problem," you said. You took out your purse and paid. "I will collect it early in the morning." "It will be ready," Goro said. Then he paused. He looked at you. There was concern in his eyes. "Takeshi-sama, be careful. Return safely." You nodded. "I will do my best." Sword preparation. When you returned home, it was already noon, but there was no time to rest. Now it was time for the swords. The katana and the wakizashi. Both had to be inspected, sharpened one final time, and oiled. You drew the katana from its scabbard. It gleamed in the light, but when you looked closely, you saw a small stain, a fingerprint. At some point, you had touched the blade and not cleaned it properly afterward. Over time, this could cause rust. You used a Chico, fine polishing powder, kept in a small cloth pouch. You gently tapped it along the blade. The powder clung to the surface. Then you wiped it with soft paper. The stain was gone. Next, you examined the blade carefully. From base to tip, you checked the edge. Any chips? Any cracks? No. Good. But it was slightly dull. It needed sharpening. You took out the whetstones. In truth, there were several. Coarse grit, medium grit, fine grit. They had to be used in order. You soaked the coarse stone in water. Then, holding the sword, you moved it back and forth across the stone. The angle was important. About 15 to 20 degrees. Too steep, and the blade would not be sharp. Too flat, and the edge could be damaged. With each pass, a mixture of water and metal dust formed. You wiped it away and continued. You worked with the coarse stone for half an hour. Then the medium grit stone. The same process, but with less pressure, smoother movements. You refined the edge, corrected it. Finally, the fine grit stone, the finishing stone. It polished the edge, making it razor sharp. You had to be extremely careful. One mistake could ruin the edge. After an hour, the sword was ready. To test it, you took a strand of hair. You brought it close to the blade, without touching, just near it. The hair split in two, only from the movement of air. That was true sharpness. Then you oiled the blade. Choji oil, a mixture of clove oil and mineral oil. It protected the sword from rust. You applied a thin layer, then wiped away the excess. You repeated the same process with the wakizashi. It took less time because it was smaller, but it required the same care. Both swords were now ready. Death was ready. It waited only for your hand. Provision preparation. You dedicated the second day to provisions. The journey would take 4 days. After that, you did not know how long you would remain at the army camp. Weeks, maybe months. You had to bring your own food. Rice, the staple food. You filled a large bag, enough for about 30 days. Heavy, but necessary. Dried fish. Protein was needed to remain strong. You took that as well. Umebashi, salted pickled plums. Both seasoning and preservative. They kill bacteria and help prevent illness. Miso paste, for making soup. Eating something warm was good for morale. Tea leaves. Sencha, 1 cup of green tea a day. Kept the mind clear. A water flask. Wooden. Polished. 2-liter capacity. You would need to refill it every day. You packed the food carefully. wrapped it in waterproof cloth, then placed everything into your backpack. You tested the weight. Heavy, but manageable. Strategy meeting. On the evening of the second day, all the samurai of the region gathered for a meeting. A preliminary strategy discussion. Coordination was necessary. Who would leave when? Where you would meet? Where you would rest along the way? The meeting was again at the temple, but this time it was more formal, more serious. At the front stood a table. On it lay a rough map. Northern lands. The enemy clan. Your territory. The terrain. Masaru-sama stood at the front. Beside him were other elderly samurai. Veterans. Commanders. Welcome, Masaru said. Today, we will discuss strategy. Because war is not only courage. It is also intellect. He pointed to the map. The enemy is here, beyond the northern mountains. Their advantage is terrain knowledge. Our advantage is numbers. We are more numerous. But we must be careful. They may set ambushes in the forests. Another commander spoke. Our army will advance in 3 divisions. Left wing, right wing, center. We are the center division. Our lord will be in the center. This is the most critical position, because the enemy's main force will strike the center. Another added, our battle tactic will be aggressive and fast. The first attack will be a rain of arrows. This will weaken their positions. Then a cavalry charge, to break their lines. Finally, the infantry assault. Us, with swords and spears, face to face. Masaru continued, formation is crucial. We will use testudo, the turtle formation, shields in front, spears between, archers in the rear, samurai at the core. We will deliver the final blow. He pointed to enemy positions on the map. The enemy's strategy is defensive. They are positioned on high ground. They have the advantage of elevation. We will have to climb upward. This is a disadvantage, but there is no other option. A young samurai asked, what about the possibility of ambush? Hi, Masaru said. The forest path is narrow. They can attack from the sides. That is why the flanks will be reinforced. Scout units will advance ahead of us. They will detect danger early. Kenji asked, is there a retreat plan? Masaru looked at him sharply. There is no retreat. Forward or death. This is Bushido. Then his expression softened. But let us be realistic. If the situation becomes truly dire, an organized retreat will be executed, not chaos. Order. The commanders will sound the horns. Then, and only then, we will withdraw. Hayato spoke. What is the strength of the enemy? No, Samurai-sama, the messenger said. It is only a notice. I will now go inform the other samurai. You nodded. The messenger bowed, turned, mounted his horse, and rode away. You remained standing in the doorway, the scroll in your hand. Inside you, a strange mixture. Not fear, not excitement, more like acceptance. It had finally come. That morning, you did not follow your normal routine. There was no time. You immediately shifted into planning mode. 3 days. You had to prepare everything in 3 days. Armor inspection. The first task was to inspect your armor. The armor was your second skin. But for years, you had used it only in ceremonies and training, not in real battle. Now you had to inspect every single piece. Because in battle, a missing tie or a broken plate could cost your life. You opened the armor cabinet. Inside were carefully folded and arranged pieces of armor. This type was called Yoroi. Oyuroi, heavy armor. The first piece was the chest armor. Small metal plates tied together with cords. A lamellar system. It provided flexibility but also protection. Each plate was polished, shining, but it still had to be checked. You examined each plate carefully. Any cracks? Any rust? No. Good. Then you checked the cords. Were they strong? Worn? Rotten? A few showed light wear. You noted it. They had to be replaced. Next came the sodi, the shoulder guards. 2 large plates hanging down from the shoulders. These were critical. The shoulders were one of the most targeted areas in combat. Again, you checked every cord, every plate. On one of them, You found a small crack, very small, but enough. You would need to visit the blacksmith for repairs. Then the kote, arm guards, protecting the forearms and hands. Metal plates sewn onto fabric. You needed to be able to move your fingers to grip the sword. Flexibility was essential. You put them on to test. You move your fingers. Good. No problem. Then the high date, thigh guards, chain mail sewn onto fabric. They protected the legs while still allowing freedom of movement. You inspected them. One chain ring was broken. Repair was necessary. Then the sunny eight, shin guards, metal plates protecting the front of the lower legs. The back was open because there was no retreat, only forward. Finally, the kabuto, the helmet, the most important piece. Your head had to be protected. The helmet was made of heavy metal plates. On top was a crest, called the May date, your clan symbol, a bamboo leaf. You lifted the helmet. It was heavy, but that weight gave confidence. You checked the inside. The lining was intact. The ties were strong. The outside had scratches, but that did not matter. Scratches were marks of honor. They meant the armor had seen battle. When you finished inspecting everything, you made a list of the deficiencies. A few cords to replace, one plate to repair, one chain ring to fix. The blacksmith could handle all of it. You had to go immediately. The blacksmith visit. You walked down to the village. The blacksmith shop was already busy. Inside were 4 or 5 other samurai, all there for the same reason, armor repairs. The blacksmith, a man named Goro, was sweating. The furnace was blazing, sparks flying, but there was worry on his face. Too much work, too little time. Takeshi-sama, he said when he saw you. He bowed briefly. There was no time for long ceremony. You as well. Yes, you said. I inspected my armor. Some repairs are needed. You handed him the list. Goro looked at it and nodded. I need 2 days. If I rush, I can finish by tomorrow evening. Is tomorrow morning possible? You asked. I leave in 3 days. Goro thought, then nodded. Yes, but I will have to work through the night. An extra fee. No problem, you said. You took out your purse and paid. I will pick it up early. It will be ready, Goro said. Then he paused. He looked at you, concern in his eyes. Takeshi-sama, be careful. Return safely. You nodded. I will do my best. Sword preparation. When you returned home, it was already noon, but there was no time to rest. Now it was time for the swords. Katana and wakizashi. Both had to be inspected, sharpened one last time, and oiled. You drew the katana from its scabbard. It shone in the light. But when you looked closely, you noticed a small mark, a fingerprint. At some point, you had touched it and not cleaned it properly. Over time, that could cause rust. You used a chico, rice powder in a small cloth pouch. You lightly tapped it along the blade. The powder clung to the surface. Then you wiped it with soft paper. The mark disappeared. You examined the blade carefully. From base to tip, you checked the edge. Any chips? Any cracks? No. Good. But it was slightly dull. It needed sharpening. You brought out the whetstones. In reality, there were several. Coarse, medium, and fine grit. They had to be used in order. You soaked the coarse stone in water. Then you held the blade and moved it back and forth across the stone. The angle was important. About 15 to 20 degrees. Too steep, and it would not sharpen. Too shallow, and the edge would be damaged. With each pass, a mixture of water and metal powder formed. You wiped it away and continued. You worked with the coarse stone for half an hour. Then the medium grit stone. The same process, but this time with less pressure. Smoother movements. You refined and corrected the edge. Finally, the fine grit stone. The finishing stone. It polished the edge, making it razor sharp. You had to be very careful. One mistake could ruin the blade. After an hour, the sword was ready. To test it, you took a hair. You brought it close to the blade, without touching, just near it. The hair split in two, only from the air movement. That was true sharpness. Then you oiled the blade. Choji oil, a mixture of dried clove and mineral oil. It protected the steel from rust. You applied a thin layer, then wiped off the excess. You repeated the same process with the wakizashi. It took less time because it was smaller, but it required the same care. Both swords were now ready. Death was ready. It waited only for your hand. Supply preparation. You dedicated the second day to supplies. The journey would take 4 days, and you did not know how long you would stay at the encampment. Perhaps weeks, perhaps months. You had to bring your own food. Rice, the staple. You filled a large bag, enough for about 30 days. Heavy but necessary. Dried fish. Protein was needed to stay strong. You took that as well. Umebashi, pickled salted plums, both flavoring and preservative. They killed germs and prevented illness. Miso paste, for soup. Eating something warm helped morale. Tea leaves. Suncha, 1 cup of green tea a day provided mental clarity. A water flask, wooden, polished, 2-liter capacity. You would need to refill it daily. You packed the food carefully, wrapped it in waterproof cloth, then placed it in your backpack. You tested the weight. Heavy, but manageable. Strategy meeting. On the evening of the second day, there was a meeting of all the regional samurai. A preliminary strategy discussion. Coordination was necessary. Who would depart, when, where you would meet, where you would rest along the road. The meeting was again at the temple, this time more formal, more serious. A table stood at the front. On it, a rough map, northern lands, the enemy clan, your territory, the terrain. Masaru-sama stood at the front. Beside him were other elderly samurai, veterans, commanders. Welcome, Masaru said. Today we will discuss strategy, because war is not only courage, it is also intellect. He pointed to the map. The enemy is here, beyond the northern mountains. Their advantage is terrain knowledge. Our advantage is numbers. We are more numerous, but we must be careful. They can set ambushes in the forests. Another commander spoke. Our army will advance in 3 divisions. Left wing, right wing, and center. We are in the center division. Our lord will be in the center. This is the most critical position, because the enemy's main force will strike the center. Another added, our battle tactic will be dense and fast. The first attack will be a rain of arrows. It will weaken their positions. Then a cavalry charge. It will break their lines. Finally, the infantry assault. Us, with swords and spears, face to face. Masaru continued, formation is vital. We will use testudo, the turtle formation, shields in front, spears within, archers behind, samurai at the core. We will deliver the final blow. He indicated enemy positions on the map. The enemy's strategy is defensive. They have taken positions on the hills. They have the high ground advantage. We will have to climb. That is a disadvantage. But there is no other option. A young samurai asked, what about the possibility of ambush? Hi, Masaru said. The forest path is narrow. They can attack from the sides. That is why we will keep the flanks strong. Scout units will move ahead to detect danger early. Kenji asked, is there a retreat plan? Masaru looked stern. There is no retreat. Advance or death. That is Bushido. Then he softened, but let us be realistic. If the situation becomes truly dire, an organized withdrawal will be executed. Not chaos. Order. Commanders will sound the horns. Then, and only then, we will retreat. Hayato spoke. How strong is the enemy? Intelligence says 2,000 soldiers. Masaru replied. Our force is 3,000. We are superior in numbers, but their morale is high. They are defending their land. Our morale must be high as well, because we are defending our honor. How long will the war last? Someone else asked. We do not know, Masaru said honestly. Perhaps 1 day, perhaps 1 week, perhaps 1 month. There may be a siege. There may be open battle. We must be ready for everything. The meeting continued for another hour. Details were discussed. Logistics, communication, evacuation of the wounded. Everything was planned. Finally, Masaru spoke his last words. Remember, planning is important in war, but so is flexibility, because the enemy also has a plan. When plans collide, chaos is born. In that chaos, remaining calm, focused, and adaptable is what brings victory. Everyone nodded. These were deep lessons. Tomorrow we all depart, Masaru said. In 3 days we meet at the encampment. Go with honor, fight with honor, return with honor. Hi! Everyone answered together. Strong, determined. 3rd day, final preparations. The 3rd day was for final preparations. Early in the morning, you picked up your armor from the blacksmith. Goro had worked all night. His eyes were red, but the work was complete. The armor was perfect. Thank you, Goro-san, you said. You did excellent work. May it protect you, Goro said. His voice trembled. He was emotional, because he knew some of you would not return. You went home. You tried on the armor. It fit perfectly. Every piece was in place. You moved. The flexibility was good. You were protected, yet free. In the afternoon, you did a final training session, but not heavy, just light, to keep the body loose. If you trained too hard, you would exhaust yourself and be weak in battle. In the evening, you went to the village one last time to say goodbye. You saw the elderly woman who sold vegetables. She bowed deeply to you. Takeshi-sama, she said, tears in her eyes. Please be careful. Please return. I will return, you said, but inside you were not sure. No one ever was. A small child ran up to you. In his hand was a small origami crane. I made it for you, he said. For good luck. You took it. You looked at it. Simply folded paper, but sincere. Thank you, you said. You put it in your pocket. I will carry this with me. The child smiled happily. It will protect you. You returned home. The sun was setting. The final night. Tomorrow you would depart. You ate your dinner slowly. You savored every bite. Because who knew when you would eat such a peaceful meal again? Then you performed your final meditation. A long meditation. 1 hour. You emptied your mind. You released fear. You released anxiety. You simply remained. You simply were. When you lay down at night, you could not sleep for a long time. Your mind was thinking about tomorrow, the journey, the encampment, the war. But eventually, sleep came, and dreams. Departure day, morning. You woke before dawn. The final morning routine, the final meditation, the final training. But this time you were aware. Every movement was more meaningful, every breath more precious, because this was no longer training. This was real. You finished breakfast. You put on the armor, each piece carefully. Do chest armor, Sodi shoulder guards, Kota arm guards, high date thigh guards, Sunny 8 shin guards, Kabuto helmet. You were fully equipped. Heavy, perhaps 20 extra kilograms. But you were used to it. You had trained in this armor for years. You fastened the katana and wakizashi. You took your backpack. Supplies inside. Heavy, perhaps another 15 kilograms. 35 kilograms of extra weight in total. Normal for a samurai. You were strong. You could carry it. You stepped out the door. The sun was just rising. The sky was red and orange. They called it a shepherd's warning. A sign that bad weather was coming. You walked toward the village, the meeting point. Other samurai were arriving as well, one by one, all armored, all armed, all with determined faces. Kenji arrived. Hayato arrived. The young samurai arrived. You counted up to 20 samurai. This was your group. You would walk together. Masaru stood at the front. Are we ready? He asked. We are ready, everyone answered. Then let us go, Masaru said. For honor, for clan, for lord. Hi! And you began to walk. The villagers saw you off. Hands waved. Tears flowed, but silently, because crying while sending off a samurai was said to bring bad luck. The road stretched ahead. toward the mountains, toward the north, toward war. Each step brought you closer to death. Each step brought you closer to fate. But you were not afraid, because you were a samurai, and a samurai does not fear death. He fears dishonor. On the road, first day, you walked. The pace was good. Not fast, but steady, about 6 kilometers per hour. You walked 10 hours a day, 60 kilometers daily. You did not stop often, only for water breaks. 10 minutes. You drank, rested, and continued. Lunch was simple. Rice balls with umeboshi inside. You ate while walking. There was no time to stop. In the evening, you reached the first campsite, an open area, near the forest, with a water source. A good place. You set up the tents. Simple tents. For 2 people. You and Kenji shared one. You lit a fire. Dinner needed to be hot. You made miso soup. You cooked rice. Simple but filling. After eating, guards were assigned. Night watch would be taken in shifts, because on the road, you were vulnerable. Ambush was possible. You were assigned the second shift. 3 hours after midnight, you laid down in the tent. You were tired. Your legs ached. Your shoulders hurt from the weight of the armor. But you would adapt. Kenji lay beside you. The first day is over, he said. Yes, you said. 3 more days. Then the war, Kenji said. Then the war, you repeated. Silence followed. Both of you were lost in your thoughts. Are you afraid? Kenji asked at last. You thought. You had to be honest. Yes, a little. You. Me too, Kenji said. But do not tell anyone. You smiled. I will not. Good, Kenji said, because they say a samurai does not feel fear. But we do. We just do not show it. True, you said. Fear is human. Courage is the ability to overcome it. You are getting philosophical, Kenji said with a faint smile. The influence of my sensei, you replied. Silence settled again. Then you drifted into sleep. A deep, exhausted sleep. After midnight, you were awakened. Guard duty. You rose and stepped outside. It was cold. You could see your breath. The camp was quiet. Only the sound of snoring. The fire was still burning softly. Forest sounds surrounded you. Owls. Wind. Normal sounds. But you were alert. Your eyes fixed on the forest. Your ears open. Any unusual sound had to be noticed. 3 hours passed. Nothing happened. Good. You woke the next guard. Returned to your tent. Slept again. Second day. On the road. You woke early. Before sunrise. A quick breakfast. Cold rice. Tea. Simple. You broke camp. You were careful to leave no trace. Everything was packed and taken with you. Then you continued walking. The second day was harder. Muscles were stiff. Pain had set in, but you did not stop. You kept moving forward. Around midday, you encountered another group of samurai from a different region. They were also heading to the Lord's encampment. You decided to walk together. Greater numbers meant greater safety. Now the group numbered 40 samurai. Stronger, safer. You reached the second campsite in the evening. A larger area, needed for a larger group. That night, there was more conversation. Samurai from different regions. Stories were shared. Memories. Even jokes. One samurai told a story from an old battle. How his sword had broken. How he had continued fighting with only his wakizashi. Everyone listened. It was powerful. Another sang a song. An old war song. Everyone listened. Melancholic, but beautiful. That night, morale was high, because there was companionship. Brotherhood. You were not alone. Third day. The mountains. On the third day, the terrain became difficult. You entered the mountains. The path climbed upward. The armor felt heavier. Breathing became harder. But you did not stop. Step by step, you kept climbing. During the midday break, one samurai collapsed. Extreme exhaustion. 2 companions supported him. They gave him water. Let him rest. After half an hour, he recovered and could continue. In the evening, you reached the mountain summit. From there, You could see a village below, distant but close enough. Tomorrow, you would reach the encampment. That night, everyone was quiet, because tomorrow, the real thing would begin. No longer a journey. Now, preparation for war. Fourth day, arrival at the encampment. On the fourth day, you set out early. The final stretch. By midday, you saw the encampment. Massive, hundreds of tents, perhaps thousands of soldiers, banners waving in the wind. Your lord's banner stood highest, a golden dragon on a red field. At the gate, guards checked you. Names were taken. Then you were allowed inside. Chaos, noise everywhere. Soldiers running, commanders shouting, blacksmiths hammering, horses neighing. But there was also order, organized chaos. Everyone knew what to do. An officer showed you the area for your tents. Samurai here, he said. Set up your tents. General assembly tomorrow morning. Everyone must attend. You set up the tents. Place your belongings. Then you rested. In the evening, food was distributed. Large cauldrons. Soup, rice. You lined up, took your portions. Ate. You looked around. Hundreds of samurai. Thousands of soldiers. All here for the same purpose. War. Tomorrow, the strategy would be announced. Tomorrow, roles would be assigned. Tomorrow, the war would begin. But tonight, there was rest. Because after tomorrow, no one knew what would come. Strategy meeting morning. At dawn, the sound of the war horn echoed through the camp. Loud, sharp, awakening. The camp came alive instantly. People poured out of their tents. This sound was a signal for assembly. All commanders and samurai were being summoned to the main tent. You put on your armor, full equipment, because battle could begin at any moment. You fastened your katana. Together with Kenji, you walked toward the main tent. The main tent was enormous, wide and high-ceilinged. In the center stood a large table. On it lay a detailed map, a terrain model, hills, valleys, forests, rivers. Everything was represented. Small figurines marked different units. Blue figures for your army, red figures for the enemy. At the front of the tent was a raised platform where the Lord sat, elevated so everyone could see him. Lord Akira, 45 years old, experienced. He had seen 20 battles. Scars marked his face, but his eyes were steady, resolute. Beside him stood generals, strategists, elder samurai. Hundreds of samurai and commanders gathered inside the tent. You stood in silence, waiting. Lord Akira rose to his feet. The tent fell completely silent. Only the sound of wind rustling the canvas could be heard. My warriors, the Lord said. His voice was deep, strong, authoritative. We are gathered here today because the time has come to defend our honor. The northern clan has attacked our lands. They burned our villages. They killed our people. This is unacceptable. This will not go unpunished. He paused, looked around, met every face, every pair of eyes. Tomorrow at dawn, the battle will begin. But first, you must understand our plan, because a war without a plan is lost. A war with a plan can be won. General Hideaki stepped forward, an old man, in his 60s, still sharp, a veteran strategist. He had seen 50 battles. Pay attention, Hideaki said, pointing to the map. Here is our position. On the southern side, at the bottom of the valley. And here is the enemy. On the northern side, on the hill. He indicated the red figures lined along the high ground. Defensive positions. The enemy's advantages, Hideaki continued. First, high ground. They are above us. We are below. This means they can rain arrows down on us, while it is difficult for us to reach them. Second, terrain knowledge. This is their land. They know every rock. Third, preparation. They have been preparing for weeks. They have built fortifications, dug trenches. He paused. Bad news. But everyone listened. Our advantages, Hideaki went on. First, numbers. We are 3,000. They are 2,000. We outnumber them by 50%. Second, equipment. Our armor is better. Our weapons are superior. Third, experience. Most of our samurai have seen battle. Many of theirs are young and inexperienced. He moved the blue figures on the map. The strategy will unfold in 3 phases. First phase, arrow barrage. Phase 1, archers, Hideaki said, bringing forward the archer figures. At dawn, our archers will take position. 300 archers. Effective range is about 200 meters. They will unleash an arrow barrage toward the hill. A commander asked, "The enemy has shields. Will the arrows be effective?" "Not fully," Hideaki answered honestly. "But the goal is not to kill. The goal is to demoralize, to frighten them, to distract them, and if we are lucky, to wound some. The arrow barrage will last 10 minutes, he continued. Constant, unbroken. More than 1,000 arrows will fill the sky. The sky itself will darken. You imagined it, a sky filled with arrows. The enemy unable to raise their heads, hiding behind shields, fear spreading through their ranks. A strong opening. Second phase, cavalry charge. Phase 2, cavalry, Hideaki said, moving the mounted figures forward. Immediately after the arrow barrage, the cavalry will charge. 200 horsemen, heavy armor, armed with lances and swords. What is their objective? Another commander asked. Our objective is to break the enemy lines, Hideaki said, to disrupt their formation. Cavalry is fast, heavy, powerful. They will drive through the enemy infantry, cutting through, scattering them, creating panic. Cavalry losses will be high, Lord Akira said. The climb is difficult. The horses will tire, and enemy spears will target the mounts. But this sacrifice is necessary, because they will open the path for us. Silence followed. Everyone knew that many of the cavalry would not return, but it was necessary. Third phase, infantry assault. Third phase, infantry, Hideaki said. He took a deep breath. This was the most important phase. After the cavalry disrupts the enemy lines, the infantry assault will begin. He moved the infantry figures forward, slowly, toward the hill. The infantry numbers 2,000. 600 are samurai. The rest are foot soldiers. The formation will be as follows. He demonstrated on the map. At the front, a shigeru, foot soldiers. They will form the first line with spears and shields. Their task is to absorb arrow fire and hold the initial contact line. In the middle line, Yarya shigeru, long spear soldiers. They will protect against enemy cavalry and heavy infantry. And in the rear at the heart, the samurai. He pointed to the blue samurai figures. You, 600 samurai, elite warriors. Your role is critical. When the shigeru line grows tired, worn down, and begins to fall back, you will advance. You will face the enemy's elite forces. They're samurai, their finest warriors. This will be close combat, Lord Akira said. Sword against sword, skill against skill, honor against honor. And I know you will prevail, because you are the best trained, the most loyal, the most honorable warriors. Chest swelled with pride, and with fear as well, because this could mean death. Detail formations and tactics. Hideaki continued. Now we go into the details. Formation is critical. If the formation breaks, we all die. If it holds, we win. The Yarya shigeru spear units will form 2 ranks. The first rank holds spears horizontally. The second rank holds them diagonally. This layered defense will stop enemy cavalry and heavy infantry. The samurai will be divided into 4 main groups. Each group will consist of 150 warriors. Each group will have commander. For commander stepped forward. Masaru-sama was among them. The others were also well-known, experienced samurai. The first group, under Masaru, will take the left flank. The second group, under Tako, the right flank. The third group, under Iyoda, the center. The fourth group, under my command, will remain as reserve. Lord Akira spoke again. The reserve force is critical. If any point collapses, the reserve will move there, reinforce it, stabilize the line. Communication will be by war horns, Hideaki said. 3 short blasts. Advance. 1 long blast. Halt. 2 long blasts, retreat. Memorize these signals. Your lives depend on them. Ambush and counterattack possibility. Now, let us consider the enemy's strategy, Hideaki said. They are not foolish. They have plans as well. Our expectation is this. They will remain on the defensive, absorb the first waves, attempt to increase our losses. Then, when they see us tiring, they will launch a counterattack. This is a critical point, Hideaki said, pointing to a location on the map. The left side, a forested area. There may be an ambush here. Our intelligence reports that the enemy has hidden a 200-man unit in the forest. When our assault begins, they will emerge on the flank and strike us. So what do we do? A commander asked. We know, Hideaki replied calmly, and we are prepared. A special unit of 100 men has already been placed in the forest. They will ambush the enemy ambushers. An ambush within an ambush. Everyone was impressed. Good planning. Careful thought. But remain cautious, Lord Akira said. Plans look perfect on paper. In reality, chaos reigns. The enemy may act unexpectedly. The weather may change. The terrain may behave differently. Flexibility is essential. Adapt to the situation. Listen to your commanders. But also use your own judgment, morale, and motivation. Hideaki stepped back. Now Lord Akira spoke. More emotional, more inspiring. My warriors, he said, tomorrow will be a hard day. Some of us will not return here. This is truth. This is unavoidable. But remember why we are here. He paused, looked into every set of eyes. We are not here only for land. We are not here only for the clan. We are not here only because of my command. You are here because you fight for your honor. The spirits of your ancestors are watching you. Your children will tell your story. Your names will be written into history. The brave who fight may win. The coward who runs will lose. But the one who dies with honor is greater than both. Tomorrow, some of us will die. But if we die bravely in Valhalla, in heaven, our ancestors will welcome us. They will say, welcome, my son. You live with honor. You died with honor. Silence followed. Deep, heavy silence. But there was also energy, motivation, readiness. Now go, Lord Akira said. Prepare yourselves. Rest. Pray. We meet again at dawn. Then we write history. Hi! Everyone shouted in unison. Strong. Determined. Ready. Preparation afternoon. After the meeting, you divided into groups. Your group was under Masaru's command. The left flank, 150 samurai. Masaru gathered his unit. A smaller meeting, more personal. The left flank is critical, Masaru said, because we are close to the forest. If an ambush comes from there, we will be the first to face it. Stay alert. Keep your eyes everywhere. Our formation will be like this, he continued. 3 ranks, 50 men per rank. The first rank is experienced fighters. You. The second rank is moderately experienced. The third rank is young, newly trained warriors. If the first rank tires, the second moves forward. Rotation. The battle may last long, he said. For hours, perhaps all day. Conserve your energy. Do not make unnecessary movements. Attack only when needed. Stay strong on defense. Kenji asked, what if the commander falls? Masaru paused, then answered honestly. If I fall, Hayato takes command. If he falls, the next senior takes over. The order is clear. No panic. The chain continues. Questions? Masaru asked. A young samurai raised his hand. His voice trembled. This is my first battle. Any advice? Masaru stepped closer, placed a hand on his shoulder. The first battle is always difficult. But remember this. You are not alone. You have a brother on your right, a brother on your left. They fight for you. You fight for them. Together, you are strong. Alone, you are weak. You will feel fear. This is normal. Turn fear into energy. Focus. Choose one enemy. Look only at him. Nothing else. Finish him. Then move to the next. step by step. The young man nodded, gratitude in his eyes. In the afternoon, you made final preparations. You checked your armor again. Every strap secure? Yes. You sharpened your sword one last time. Tested the edge. Perfect. You prepared water and rations. Tomorrow would be long. You could not afford hunger or thirst. Evening, the final night. Dinner was served in the evening. Abundant. Because no one knew when they would eat again tomorrow. Rice, soup, fish, vegetables. Everything was there, but no one ate much. There was tension in every stomach. Stress, fear. After the meal, some samurai wrote letters to their families. Final letters. They handed them to friends, saying, "If I do not return, deliver this." You wrote as well. To your father, to your brother. Short but sincere. Dear father, tomorrow I go to battle. If you are reading this, it means I am no longer alive. Do not grieve. I live with honor. I died with honor. I was proud of you. You raised me well. It was an honor to be your son. Takeshi. You sealed the letter, handed it to Kenji. If I do not return, you said. Kenji took it. You will return, he said. But neither of you was certain. The camp was quiet at night. Everyone was lost in their thoughts. Some prayed. Some meditated. Some simply sat in silence. You stepped outside, looked up at the sky. The stars were bright. The moon was full, luminous, beautiful. Kenji joined you, stood quietly beside you. Beautiful night, he said. Yes, you replied. It may be the last beautiful night. Maybe, Kenji said. Maybe not. If I fall tomorrow, you said, you continue. Keep fighting. Fight for me as well. The same for you, Kenji replied. If I fall, take my revenge. Agreed, you said. You clasped hands. Firm, strong, brotherly. Sleep well, Kenji said. You too, you replied. You returned to the tent. You lay down. But sleep did not come easily. Your mind was too active. Tomorrows, possibilities, fears, hopes. Eventually, exhaustion brought sleep. Not deep, shallow, the sleep of the alert, but sleep nonetheless. Dawn, the day of battle. The sound of the horn woke you. The air was still dark, but in the east there was a faint light. Dawn was approaching. You stood up, washed your face with cold water, put on your armor. You checked every piece one last time. You strapped on your katana, placed the wakizashi. You were ready. When you stepped outside, the camp was awake. Sounds everywhere. Movement, energy. Groups were assembling. You went to Masaru's unit. 150 samurai stood together, silent, waiting. Lord Akira mounted his horse and looked down at us. Today, he said, we write history. Fight with honor, win with honor, or die with honor. Hi, everyone answered. Then we began to march, ordered, silent, toward the valley, toward the battlefield. The sun began to rise. First light in the sky, red, orange, beautiful, and at the same time ominous. You saw the hill. Far ahead, the enemy banner was waving on it. Red background, black wolf, their emblem. Your heart beat faster. Your breathing deepened. This was real now. There was no escape. You took position. Left flank, Masaru in front. You in the second rank. Kenji on your right. Hayato on your left. A good position. Archers moved forward. They drew their bows, set their arrows, waiting for the signal. The cavalry mounted their horses. They prepared their lances. Excited, the horses stomped the ground. Everything was ready. Only the signal was missing. Lord Akira raised a sword. High, the sun reflected on the blade. It flashed. Then he lowered it. The horn sounded. The battle began. And here at this moment, our story stops. Because some stories do not end with a conclusion. They remain open, left to imagination. Did Takeshi survive? Was the battle won? Did he find an honorable death? These questions remain unanswered. Because in real life, everything is uncertain. The future is unknown. But what we do know is this. In that moment on that battlefield, Takashi was ready. He had trained for years. He had learned discipline. He had faced fear. And now, with a sword in his hand, he was ready to fight with honor. Maybe he won. Maybe he lost. But what matters is this. He lived with honor. And if he was to die, he would die with honor. This is the story of a samurai. But it is also the story of all of us. Because we all fight our own battles. On different battlefields. Against different enemies. But with the same principles. Discipline, honor, courage, perseverance. Takashi's story ends here. But your story continues. What will happen tomorrow? What battles will you fight? What challenges will you face? We do not know the answers, but we know this. If you are prepared like Takashi, if you are disciplined, if you are honorable, you too can prevail. We have reached the end of this long story. If you stayed until here, thank you very much. Sharing this journey with you is an honor. Do not forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and write in the comments what you think. Which historical periods would you like to see next? Write to me. Maybe the next story will be your suggestion. Now close your eyes, take a deep breath, and remember, you are a warrior too, the samurai of your own life. Live with honor, fight with courage, and every morning, like Takashi, begin again. Peaceful nights and honorable tomorrows.